Hello, and welcome back to Random Rants of the Plaid Guy, which I will first start off by saying I'm sorry. I'm sorry I missed doing a review last week. Life just got in the way. If you could just forgive me for 1 week, I'm going to keep it consistent. One video a week of a different review. Or a little skit or whatever with my girlfriend. Sorry about that. I'm going to try to make it up to you guys. I'm going to try to keep consistent. So, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about today's movie, which is going to be Ready Player One. Which is going to be interesting because unlike a lot of other reviews I've seen, I want to be talking about the book and the movie. What I agree with in the book, and what I agree with the movie, and what I disagree with on both. We'll talk about that. So Ready Player One is the story about how in the near future there's a virtual reality technology that leads you to a place called the Oasis. And here everything is possible. It's ultra realistic. You can go to Egypt, you can play video games, everything is possible in the Oasis and everybody's playing it. Now, the creator, Holiday, created a challenge where a player in the Oasis had to find 3 different keys. Once they found all 3 keys, they could access all the shares in his company, thus making them pretty much the richest person in the world. And our main character is Percival, who is actually Wade Watts in real life. And he lives in a place called the Stack where the economy is overrun, there's not enough jobs for everyone. But he likes to go to the Oasis, and I won't reveal it, but he accidentally discovers how to find the first key, and he begins a quest from there. Now, they had to change from the book to the movie each of the different quests and how to do them. Which they've also changed a lot of the orders, the characters, and how they're introduced and what happens, which for the most part I was actually very happy with. Trying to keep as much as they could, and I saw that Ernest Cline, the guy who wrote the book, did the movie as well, which I'm very grateful for. There were a lot of issues with the factor of, and I'm going to go ahead right up and say this at the top of it, both the book and the movie don't really make any kind of impact. It basically knows, it treats itself as a popcorn movie. It knows it's just there for entertainment value. It's not going to change your world, but it's kind of vapid. Basically, it's as if you buy a pretty car with a shoddy engine. Yeah, you can show the car around, it's pretty, but there's nothing underneath the hood. Which, if you've seen the movie, that's also Stephen King's analysis for The Shining. The movie. In fact, that whole middle section I'll talk about right now, because that middle section where they had to go into the Shining movie, I thought was genius. I almost thought they were talking, the clue about the creator rejecting his creation was going to be about Frankenstein, and I thought that was going to be cool. Shining completely threw me for a loop, which I liked. But going back to the rest of the movie does this thing where it says if you're nerdy enough, if you know enough, then you can get whatever you want to. And you have to fight against the evil corporation, which is portrayed by Ben Mendelsohn, who is also the villain in Rogue One, who he really needs to call his agent and get him into another role, because he's been playing villains now in nerdy sort of movies. Which, he was good what he was, but there was no humanity about him, and I would have liked a little bit more humanity. Maybe he would have been one of the people who have started the company originally that helped Oasis, Gargarious Games, something like that. It does talk about, in the book and the movie do the same thing too, where they talk about how Holiday kind of shut himself off for the rest of the world. But it doesn't really go anywhere beyond that. It talks about a girl he once loved that was not really stolen, but drifted to his other friend, and eventually they were married. But, it doesn't really talk about that. And I really wish it would, because that was my experience. If you saw my first video... Was my first video? Oh. Probably my first or second video where we talked about how, I didn't have a lot of friends, and I really drifted off into my own little world with their movies and games and everything like that. I was in a really depressive state, and I was really focusing on this. And the best analogy I can make is King Tut's tomb. And King Tut's tomb has all of his favorite things because the Egyptians believed that their pharaohs were gods and all the things to summon him. And that was my period where I was in King Tut's tomb. I would lock myself in my room, and I had all my favorite things in one spot, but I didn't have any connection to the outside world. And I feel like this movie glances along the side of that, but doesn't really go into it. And at the end, because at the end, he gets the girl and everything's fine with that. But I really wish there could have been more touched upon that, as well as the character of his best friend, who, in the book and in the movie, by the way, if you haven't realized, spoiler alert for all this, I'll try to put a description when I upload this. But, in the book, he doesn't know his best friend is actually a 30-year-old gay black woman. In the book, there's this nice moment where, I thought it was a nice moment, where they get together and she says, "You're going to be surprised," because her avatar is a male. However, in reality, it's a female. And and there's this nice moment where they kind of like, and then all of a sudden they're like, like, the unspoken connection of like, I don't care, which I thought really was played in the book. That was nowhere in the movie at all, and that would have been a really essential. Because I feel like, especially with nerdy culture right now, there's very much this hint of misogyny. And there's this hint of, well, we're different, we were the nerds, we know what it's like to be picked upon. But I feel like it's also reverse victimization, where now since, we're at the top of the world, now we have to make the others who put us down, we have to make them feel bad. When this is something of what separates us, and we need to come together. And I really feel like the movie should have touched upon that more, and it really just lightly, like, if this is the movie, it just lightly went against it, but didn't go all the way towards it. In fact, it probably even distanced itself further than that. I wish the movie could have been deeper. Now, yes, like I said, it's a popcorn movie. It knows what it wants to be. It's just going to be this fun ride, and once we're done, we're going to walk out and feel a little bit better about our lives. But I feel like it would have been better. In my opinion, the book should have ended, and the movie should have ended with Percival after he gets to the last room. He gets to, I'll spoil this again. When he gets there, he finally gets the last key, finally gets the last challenge. It's exactly the same as the book. He doesn't sign the contract at first, and he realizes it was a trick, and finally he realizes that he meets Holiday's avatar. He meets the real Holiday in Holiday's room, back when he was a kid. But instead of this, and he does the same thing where he's like, this is the panel where to shut off all the oasis, don't touch unless it's necessary. And there, in the movie, there's this great suspenseful scene, but it just kind of like wasn't done. Which, there could have been more to that. But, I really wish both the book and the movie ended with Percival pressing the button to destroy all the oasis and saying, everyone go outside and make your world a better place. I really wish that would have been the ending, because I feel like it would have held a mirror up to the nerd culture to say that you can love this stuff, but it won't love you back. The people in your life will love you back. This won't at all. And I feel like it completely missed what would have been a really good point in the entire movie. Like I said, it was a popcorn movie, but it could have been a popcorn movie with a message that would have been relevant for today. And I did love seeing all the different avatars and everything. I love Gundam, and I love seeing the Gundam RX-78, fighting Mechagodzilla. That was great, especially that giant battle scene. Like, Spielberg can direct the crud out of a great action scene, like, because he knows the old stuff, and he knows how to be modern. Like, he's great at that. But I feel like Spielberg in this one was very he was just kind of being vapid. Like I said, just not really trying to teach you anything. But even like when he's doing his action movies, He still tries to teach you something. In Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, we talk about the difference between a parent and a child, and how that could create valleys, and eventually we have to come together. Now, and, you know, even in Raiders of the Lost Ark, there's a sense of what should be done about these objects and these artifacts. Who should view them? Should it be the people who know about them? In fact, that's a great analogy for Ready Player One. Or should it be everyone? And I do like Spielberg. I'm not a huge fan of Spielberg, I'll be honest. I was more of a George Lucas person because I admired how he created Star Wars out of nothing and created his own company and everything like that. While I do like Mr. Spielberg, I'm not a huge fan of his. And I do feel like he has been preachy, and I wonder if this is a response to him being less preachy as he can be, so he can just create a fun little movie. But I feel like he left the tiny little part that would have made him good. This is probably, I would say, middle tier Spielberg movies. Jurassic Park, which is one of my favorite movies of all the time, belongs in that category. It's good, not awesome, but it's great. Should you go see Ready Player One? Yes. I would wait until the Blu-ray. I would wait till it comes into home. Just because the movie will not make an impact. It will be a great Saturday afternoon offering, but it will not make a great impact. I wish there was more focus on the puzzles and the challenges, and like I said, actually trying to discover something about yourself. And I know this is also a great analogy, by the way. There's a really old movie my parents watched one night when my mom had really bad insomnia called Circle of Iron, starring David Carradine, and I forgot the other actor's name. You have to go look this up. Circle of Iron. It's a really shoddy B movie with awful lines. Like one is, "How do you find the monkey?" "Well, you turn your back and the monkey will reveal himself." At the end of the movie, this guy is trying to find the secret to ultimate happiness, and when he gets there, he finds a book, opens it up, and there's a mirror. Lame! But this is kind of the equivalent of that, but with the nerdy culture. And like I said, my just whole feeling with the nerdy culture, if we are to evolve as a culture, we need to be more inclusive, not exclusive. We need to be willing to change. I know there's a lot of misogyny, a lot of gatekeeping, especially with Gamergate that happened. I know there's still this misception of like men rule, women drool. But like, we need to be more inclusive. Like my girlfriend, who you've seen on this channel, she has really accepted it, and I've discovered things I haven't discovered before. Like, I was showing her a bunch of my favorite comic creators on my phone, and they were mostly sexy ladies. And I felt pretty bad because I'm like, I'd like to share some art that me and my girlfriend can appreciate that's not just sexy ladies. Is there a place for stuff like that? Yes. However, I feel like we need to contribute as well as give entertainment. There's probably a better analogy, don't think of it later. But anyway, see Ready Player One. Is it going to change your world? No. Is Ernest Cline a good writer? No. He's going to be relegated airport fodder. But, go see the movie. But, like I said, I would wait until it comes into home, into your home. Other than that, this is the Plaid Guy saying, see y'all later.